30. Oh my God. Plus nearly blacking out. Thankfully, my wife never came in, but I think about it now. If I had choked myself to death and died with a 10-inch dildo in my ass. Sup, guys? I saw this thread pop up on Reddit called Trenbolone and Sexuality. So I thought, you know what? This is probably going to be an interesting one, and I'll do a little video reaction to it. So this is the Reddit post. Guy goes, I've been on my highest dose of Trenbolone yet, 350 milligrams of Trenace a week. Now I understand its chemical effects and I'm not looking for pharmacological help. But functionally, how have you been able to manage the sex drive? Trene has done more to my dick than 1 gram of Gia ever has. Self-time has gone up from 30 minutes a day to 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day, holy shit. That is an outrageous amount of wanking. I don't want myself. I think he means I don't find myself wanting intimacy anymore. Just pure force and aggression, and that's reflecting on the kind of content I've been consuming. FTM porn, I think that's female to male porn, like tranny porn. Just something about taking these sluts, slapping them for being stupid enough to get rid of their tits, pounding them in the hole that they can't get rid of, and breeding them to force the truth ground on them. It sounds like this dude has developed a pretty intense porn addiction, and he admits himself that he doesn't even want real sex anymore. 3 hours of this cardio and lifting doesn't leave much time and energy for anything else. Yeah, no shit. What has worked for you anecdotally? I had psychotic symptoms that accumulated in the first anxiety episode of my life. When I kicked this off but found out it was more due to insomnia than the trend itself, strict sleep hygiene brought it under control, but funnily enough, if the sex drive can't be tamed, will it be the reason that I have to hop off? That's a pretty wild post. A couple of things that stick out to me is, first of all, that's a hell of a lot of Tren, 350 milligrams a week. And about 10 years ago, that was like the standard dose of what you would start at. But over the last couple of years, the discourse has changed, and it turns out that guys like Dorian Yates were right all along. He would talk about 2 ampules of parabolin a week, which works out to be about 150 milligrams, is really all you would need, and I would agree. And this dude is taking more than twice that. He also goes, I don't find myself wanting intimacy anymore, just pure force and aggression, and that's reflected on the kind of content I've been consuming. So this is down to dopamine. Tren causes your brain to produce a lot more of it, and dopamine is the reward-seeking neurotransmitter. And that can be a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it can increase your motivation to pursue goals, but it can also cause individuals to seek escalating levels of stimulation because they're basically chasing this dopamine high, which is being sent into overdrive by the trend. He admits himself that he doesn't want regular sex and intimacy anymore because his brain is craving novelty. Hence the escalation of the naughty content he's watching. Something else to note here as well is that because he's on 350 milligrams a week, which is quite a high dose, it's very likely that he's needing to use a D2 agonist like Kaba to control the prolactin. If you don't know, Tren can increase prolactin levels, which has an inverse relationship to dopamine. So when prolactin's high, dopamine's low, and when dopamine's high, prolactin's low. But cabergoline can crash your prolactin levels to where they're almost non-existent. And the result of that is huge amounts of dopamine being released, but also a massive reduction in sexual refractory period, which is going to further encourage his behavior. I had psychotic symptoms when I kicked this off, but found out it was more due to the insomnia than the trend itself. Yeah, lack of sleep can definitely mess with you. I don't know why he's separating insomnia and trend though, because trend can absolutely cause insomnia due to the androgenic CNS stimulation and also the downregulation of GABA, which is the relaxation neurotransmitter. and the upregulation of dopamine, which by nature is excitatory and stimulating. All right, let's have a look at the comments. Bro, last cycle included 300 milligrams tren and I bought a 10-inch dildo and trained my ass to take it all. I had rapper resistance band to my neck and bounce on the dildo for 30 minutes. Oh my God. Plus nearly blacking out. Thankfully, my wife never came in, but I think about it now. If I had choked myself to death and died with a 10-inch dildo in my ass, she would have never forgot that. I don't know if I'll run tren again, but that shit was wild sexually. Surely that can't be real. That's crazy. I don't know, dude. Same issue, basically. When on tren, I get into big dick futanari porn like it's crack. I don't know what that is, and I don't intend to find out. Normally, I'm not even that into porn, and if I am, it's pretty vanilla, weird shit. It's not just thoughts. Thoughts are beginning to translate into action. I doubled my HCG dose because I didn't want to feel just fertile. I want to be hyper fertile. Saw a feminist chick bitching about how life would be better if she was born a man. Now I want to manipulate her into DIY HRT and leave her ruined. Just to teach her a lesson that grass is not greener on the other side. Be careful what you ask for. Damn, that is cold. Sounds kind of hot though, not gonna lie. I'm on tren. On tren, I started stretching out my dick to make it bigger and tried butt stuff receiving for the first time. You may be like, what the fuck was that when you come off? So this dude was getting his sexual appetite warped by tren as well. Seems to be quite a common theme, doesn't it? Anecdotally, dropping tren made my sexuality chill out. I get into weird porn on tren too. Laugh my ass off. I think that's kind of common if you listen to bodybuilders talk about the compound. Yeah, it does seem to be quite common, doesn't it? Tren is truly the craziest compound in existence. I would definitely agree with that. I'm curious, does anyone know how or why tren does this? Is there a switch in the brain that it touches? Is it the estrogen? What's going on? I'm almost certain that it's due to dopamine and androgenic signaling. I've just come off 20 milligrams of Trenace a day, which I used for my cut this summer. And I noticed in particular during the first 2 weeks when serum levels were rising, a big increase in libido and just the amount of sexual thoughts that I would have throughout the day. But it also came with huge surges of motivation to pursue personal goals and work towards projects. Luckily for me, at that dose, I get great results and I didn't need to use a D2 agonist to control prolactin. So I can definitely see 50 milligrams of Trenace a day, which is what this guy was taking, causing a problem, particularly in combination with the D2 agonist, which is just going to have a compounding effect, causing a problem if you don't have control over your thoughts and actions. And I think that's the key lesson here. It comes down to what you choose to do with that increased energy. Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, popularized a term called sex transmutation, describing sexual energy as the most powerful human drive, which can be redirected into creative and productive work. So you could use it to watch tranny porn for 3 hours a day, or you could use it for productive means. Double down on going to the gym, double down on self-improvement. I actually wrote an article about a year ago talking about what a massive impact dopamine can have on your life and the benefits of doing a dopamine detox so that you can be in control and dopamine isn't in control of you. Definitely worth a read, and I'll link that in the description. I want to hear from you guys. So if you have experience with tren or you're curious about my experience with the compound, drop it in the comments below. Aside from that, thanks for watching. Drop the video a like and subscribe for more of this content. Enhancedplayer.com is the blog. See you next time.